The new weapon banner introduces some insane changes into the game, and these are the 5 evaluations you need to look out for. Probably the most exciting and interesting highlight of this banner is the Staff of Homa, which definitely has surprised many because of the way its passive effect has been designed. And it seems to be that this weapon shares a lot of common things with Zhongli's second passive talent, which is going to provide additional attack bonus damage that's based on the wielder's maximum health. But if that's not enough, there's 2 special twists included, one of which involves an actual boost to the equipped character's maximum health, and there's also the fact that if your health drops below 50%, you get an additional 1% attack bonus based on your maximum HP. So this means if you can get damage enough and reach the special threshold, you're looking at 1.8% additional attack bonus from just a single refinement. Not to mention, this doesn't take into account that HP bonus you will get, which will increase with each refinement level. But the devil is in the details, and until we can get our hands on the weapon, it's not clear whether the text written here is finalized and properly translated, but there is big difference when you compare this to Zhongli's second passive talent, which we saw gave him a major boost to his damage output, and the biggest difference between the two is that his talent describes his benefits from health as bonus damage, while Staff of Homa claims this is attack bonus, which are 2 separate things when you start calculating your damage. Still, it's clear that this weapon is not going to be situational or with a niche purpose, since the subset it provides is critical damage, which is one of the most highly valued things for endgame content, and even if someone like Xiao, who can get this stat from his ascension bonus, it's still crazy good weapon for him, although further testing will need to be concluded to compare this to his signature weapon, the primordial Jade Wing Spear. And finally, the last thing that's worth mentioning is that because of the way the passive bonus has been designed, which rewards you for being below 50% health, means this encourages reckless gameplay, and you might need to take this into consideration if you're interested in fully maximizing this event-exclusive weapon. So in short, the main takeaway here is that some characters will be able to maximize this weapon better than others, but at the same time, this is still an insanely good-looking polearm that won't disappoint you. The dawn of weapons that influence your team building are finally getting introduced into Genshin Impact, and we're going to see just how much of an influence equipment will have for future gameplay. And the first of the 2 and exciting additions to the game is the LITHIC blade, which provides decent subset of increased attack percentage with respectable base attack, but obviously, the thing that's most interesting here is its passive effect, which states that for every Liyue character in the party, the wielder of this weapon gains 7% increased attack and 3% critical rate, which can actually stack up to 4 times, that results in total of 28% attack and 12% critical rate. And what's crazy here is that this is just the bonuses you unlock from the first refinement level, and while there is some data floating around with max refinement stats, it's still too early to tell if MiHoYo will proceed with those stats, and it's better to have a reserved opinion for now. But either way, this already looks amazing if you can fully take advantage of it, even at first refinement level, since you usually have weapons that introduce all sorts of combat dependent conditions, while here, you can get this bonus effect just by setting and forgetting your party composition. Now one thing to keep in mind would be the fact that if you want to fully maximize this passive effect, this weapon is going to be best used with Liyue Claymore user, and currently, the characters we have are Xinyan, Beidou, and Chongqing, which are all from elements that can interact pretty well when it comes to reactions, and probably the most interesting one to test this weapon on would be Chongqing, since he's the only one who can take advantage of melt reaction, even if Xinyan can do melt and vaporize, but because she's a mix of physical and pyro, where the latter is more used for utility than damage, Chongqing is the one here who can amp it up and unleash the full might of this passive when creating melt reaction with this powerful burst attack. And one more thing to remember is that we only have 12 characters that belong to Liyue, so this could heavily influence and restrict your team building options if you want to take full advantage of the passive. Finally, the last thing to know is that there's a disclaimer: this weapon along with LITHIC Spear won't be obtainable from the standard banner, so it's going to be exclusive only to the Staff of Homa Weapon Wish event, and it's something to think about if you're one of those players who have a fear of missing out on unique opportunities. Still, the LITHIC Blade weapon is definitely going to shake things up in the game when it gets released, and it's not often you get to see a 4-star weapon having such a major role in team building, or for this matter, any impact at all, since we're used to the approach of building a team based on the characters we have and not the equipment they will be using. Also, make sure to check out more of these evaluations on Twitter, where you can follow us, link in the description. The issue of having less options to choose from when it comes to polearms is slowly getting beaten up thanks to the recent additions like the LITHIC Spear, which, just like the Claymore previously mentioned, works exactly in the same manner and as of now can be equipped effectively by any of the 3 polearm users, since they all hail from Liyue. And basically, the main takeaway with this weapon is very similar to the LITHIC Blade, and it's the fact that it will influence your team building options, although, because of the limited pool of Liyue characters, composing your team will be more restrictive unless you're happy to live with the idea that you're not taking full advantage advantage of the passive bonus, which at least in the case of polearm characters is not the biggest deal since there's not that many options out there, with 2 spares having physical damage bonus as their substats, and for once we're actually getting a weapon that gives the good old attack percentage everyone knows and loves, which you can basically apply to any character in any role and you will get decent benefits out of it. The magnificent Wolf's Gravestone is finally making a return and is going to be sharing the spotlight together with Staff of Homa, and unlike its polearm competitor, this claymore actually works as your team's damage booster thanks to the way its passive has been designed, and the iconic Wolf's head you see pop up is a great indicator for you to switch up to anyone else if you want to maximize their burst damage. And honestly, while the weapon doesn't provide the highly sought after critical rate or damage, it leans on the safe side of going with attack percentage, and the beauty of it is that it will work with nearly every claymore user without any issues. In fact, it just seems like this claymore was specifically put in to showcase the contrast between the 2 5-star weapons that are featured, with Staff of Homa being the selfish one that focuses all onto squeezing out every single drop of damage you can, while Wolf's Gravestone is the more slower, methodical one that rewards not only your equipped character, but also the whole team with the damage boost it shoots out when you're about to finish off the enemy. So in essence, because of the way weapon banners work, there's no guarantee of pity or chance to get one of them, but if you're still missing out on Wolf's Gravestone, will not be disappointed if you obtain it, since not only does it work well with nearly every claymore user, but it's also a nice team booster as well. Even though the rest of the 4-star weapons aren't the most exciting things you can talk about, there's still a lot of value to be found when it comes to building and optimizing your favorite characters, and probably the best weapon to highlight would be the Wit Sith, which not only provides critical damage from its substat, but also has a chance of boosting your elemental attacks by an insane amount, which is something that Klee, Ningguang, and Lisa truly appreciate, and especially for the Jade businesswoman herself, this is probably one of the best weapons you can get for her, as long as you can maintain the golden 2-to-1 ratio of critical damage to rate. Now for the other 2 leftover weapons, the Lion's Roar is a great, although very specific choice that is best utilized by Keqing, while the Sacrificial has its uses, but it's pretty much stuck in a category of a weapon that you would use for a very limited amount of cases, and its best selling point is the substat, which you can take advantage of with characters like Venti or Diona, where utility matters more than anything else. But to summarize, the Staff of Homa Banner is definitely going to be a big hit with many, since the weapon itself is already pretty much an insane addition to any polearm character, even if some of them can take better advantage compared to others. But then we have Lithic weapons, who are the first of hopefully many that are starting to change up the game and introduces the element of team building that's no longer based around the characters you have, but instead the weapons you own. Then there's Wolf's Gravestone, which makes the banner even better since it's probably one of the most beloved weapons by many fans, and it won't disappoint you if you ever obtain it thanks to its awesome passive effect. Finally, even some of the 4-star weapons are going to be exciting to unlock, since for catalysts like Ningguang, getting Wit Sith is going to be a major addition to her damage output. Making these videos takes a lot of resources and effort, so if there's going to be any mistakes included, make sure to check out the pinned comment below the video. Also, you can help us out by subscribing and clicking the bell notification on and gently pressing the like button. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, where all of the extra details about Staff of Homa and Lithic weapons will be shared. And as always, thank you for your support and watching us.